electricity, everything. We have to push back on the government, and we have to win this war by getting rid of all these divide and conquer strategies. We have to get together as the people again. We have to form communities to where, this person offers this and we share resources and we can all farm together and do that, because that's the only way we can push back on the government. That's ultimately the only way we can win. And we start by talking to each other. The phones culture, like I'm guilty of this, the same as everyone else is. We don't talk to each other anymore, and talking to each other is power. That's one of the biggest things that sets us apart from the animals, is our ability to articulate and communicate with each other and talk about ideas and things like that, So let's get back to community, and let's ultimately push back on the government by undomesticating ourselves.
Because for some reason it didn't start from the very, very beginning. I'm going to play this again just so everybody has full context. Just bear with me.
Okay, I was thinking about this the other day. So, growing up, one of our cats had caught this baby chipmunk, and we ended up like keeping it and raising it. And chipmunks are designed to be able to chew and gnaw into nuts themselves. And this one, since we would like crack the nuts open and give it to him, he could no longer get into like a hickory nut or a walnut by himself. Like it had to be cracked for him. That's how people are. That's how we are. We are so domesticated now. We're so dependent on the government that's why we can never push back against. Like in 1776, they had a huge revolution over a tiny percentage of taxes that they didn't like. And yet we have massive government overreach, and we're not doing anything about it because we're completely dependent on the government for food, water, our houses, electricity, everything. We have to push back on the government, and we have to win this war by getting rid of all these divide and conquer strategies. We have to get together as the people again. We have to form communities to where, this person offers this and we share resources and we can all farm together and do that, because that's the only way we can push back on the government. That's ultimately the only way we can win. And we start by talking to each other. The phones culture, like I'm guilty of this, the same as everyone else is. We don't talk to each other anymore, and talking to each other is power. That's one of the biggest things that sets us apart from the animals, is our ability to articulate and communicate with each other and talk about ideas and things like that, So let's get back to community, and let's ultimately push back on the government by undomesticating ourselves.
Okay, thank you. I ran it twice because the beginning of it I noticed didn't play through to the other people on the other side. But for those of you that may not remember, that's the woman who pretended to be a trad wife with no husband
Mhm.
uh, and a job. I don't know
Mhm.
how that worked.
And a
Um,
bikini top with an apron.
yeah, and then the
It's all very
racists were
weird.
like, "We don't want you. We know you have a brown baby, and you used to be woke." And they started being anti-Semitic towards her, although she's not Jewish. I don't know. Yeah, now she's
She ain't never farmed a damn thing in her life. She's talking about we need to farm together. It drives me crazy. We don't communicate. No, you don't hear. It's not a matter of not communicating. People like her don't hear anything that somebody else says. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I know you're I think it's funny when people say, "Well, we need to build community." Who's
Then
we?
do.
Because
First
I'm
of
like,
all,
the
who's we? But second of
community.
all, quit talking about. No, they want a ready-made community. That's why we always want to run and try to get validation and acceptance from Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, because we want to run to your community. We don't like ours, right? And we don't want to be white. We don't like what it means to be white. So we want to run away and be accepted elsewhere, which is not how any of this works.
Mhm. And what's funny is the same people that say we need to build community consistently want to throw racial epithets and tropes at marginalized communities and
Mhm.
tell us how our communities aren't working, how our communities are failing us.
Yep. all while we stand around and go, but if I say anything bad about other white people, they're going to come after me. Okay, so you want a community. Everybody, white people want it simple and easy. They want it pre-made and put out there. But yet then, once they're part of a community, they want to be able to act and speak however the hell they want to.
And they want to be the face of the community and in charge of the community, but have no idea how to build or sustain the community. And this is why I find it laughable when we're discussing specifically chattel slavery and somebody goes, but first of all, if y'all had a good sense of community and knew how to survive on your own, slavery nowhere would have existed.
Yeah. And I'm so tired of the, but black people sold black people. Wasn't because they were black. Black wasn't part of it. If it from what I understand, it doesn't, they don't think it happened at all. Not even prisoners of war between countries in Africa. I don't know. But I know damn good and well if there was no demand, there would be no supply.
Well, here's the thing. When you go to war, you take prisoners of war. You generally put those people to work.
Yes.
They're not just sitting. See, people got so used to Hogan's Heroes and stuff like that. No, you're going to work. They're going to use you for work.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, we're done with this country. And they let you go. They're not packing you up and taking you along with them.
Yes.
And a lot of people conflated servitude over the years and in different places with slavery.
Yep.
No. A lot of times if you're like, okay, you know what, here is just not doing it for me. I heard that the land of milk and honey over here is better for me, but I don't have the money to get over there. But Jared over here is willing to pay for me to go over there. If I work for him for a couple of years, I'm already where I am. I'm establishing a work history. I may even be picking up another trade that I can use.
Thank you, Arena.
And they generally gave you a little bit of the money back. Like, you know what? Thank you for doing me a solid. You didn't get beef. Here's a little kickback, and you go on.
Yeah. And here's the thing: servitude required that you sign an indentured contract. Guess what? Chattel slavery, enslaved people couldn't do. They didn't have the legal standing as a human to sign a contract of any kind.
And here's another thing. Let me take y'all back just a little bit before chattel slavery, because here's something that most people don't know. Right before chattel slavery had a name.
I have to write a note so I remember.
Y'all do know that there were Portuguese and English colonizers going to coastal lands, kidnapping people, and then selling them back to their own people.
I've heard that, yeah.
Like, hey, you want your daughter back? Hey, you want your best doctor at the time. They didn't call them doctors, but y'all get what I'm saying. You want them back? I want X amount of money. Because they were the ones that were so dependent on commodifying everything, where everybody else wanted to live communally in order to survive. It wasn't about being better than you and having more than you. It's we're both hungry. Let's split this loaf of bread and eat. And then you had chattel slavery. And then even in chattel slavery, this is what frustrates racist white people. They could not that they refused, they could not learn the various languages coming out of the continent of Africa. They noticed that the people that they enslaved were picking up on English. So they would have them translate and then go, how were they revolting? Because you can't understand them, but they can understand you, goofy. And then they were like, you know what? We're going to enslave you because you're not Christian. Oh, we just got to prove that we're Christian. Boom, we'll rebaptize ourselves over here. Got to set us free. Like, oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Okay, well, you can be free if you can sue. Oh, we understand the legal system and we can read that. Yeah, we'll take you to court and sue. Oh, wait a minute. You can be free as long as you're not pregnant and as long as you don't have a child under this age. Okay, bet. Then they're like, well, you can be free, but your child can't be free to 18. Well, the mother and father aren't going to leave that child behind. They're going to stay there and keep advocating to make sure that that child can be free. And they're like, but you got to make money. I'll hire you back, but I'm going to hire you back at such low wages, you can't really do anything else. And
Okay.
then they were looking at white abolitionists and was like, wait a minute, hold up. You just had your plantation foreclosed on. How do you have the money to go all around the country trying to free the darkies? And then where are you getting the money from? Because other white people aren't giving you the money. And then that's when they realized that a lot of these maids weren't poor. A lot of these maids were millionaires hiding in plain sight, paying
Oh, okay.
Brown to be able to go and do what they did. One of the most prolific business minds during the gold rush and silver rush, because there was a silver rush in this country, y'all.
Yeah.
As a domestic, while she was lending money to investors during the gold rush, and she was picking up trading tips, and she was financing John Brown. Like, Black people are so resourceful. Like, we gonna make a way one way or another. Like, you're not going to get over on us. And because so many people ignore us, I could literally feel an old school complete set of encyclopedia with stories that I've heard because people have forgot that me, piercings all in the face, tatted up, crazy hair most of the time. White people have forgot that I've been sitting in the room and said all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. No, I've seen it happen. I've watched it happen, right? Time and time again to my friends. And it's absolutely baffling to me because growing up, I was always the smart one of the family. I always got, you're by far, you're so much smarter than your brother. Why can't you do what your brother did, right? I got that my whole life. So people have always overestimated my intelligence when I'm in a room because I talk, I'm white, and I'm a little loud, right? And so they always, and it's baffling to me because it's like, why do you, and then I'll watch them with my friends, and I'm like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? No, you're racist, is what it comes down to. You're racist. So I saw a video about trying to debunk arguments against supporting Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this phrase: the Holocaust was the pinnacle of human suffering. My jaw fell. I'm like, hey, really weird phrasing. Really weird phrasing. And second of all, no, it wasn't. And what is this whole ranking then? Why do we do that? And it comes back to the same thing of trying to negate the effects of chattel slavery on all of society, white people included. But the continual drain on Black Americans that it has been since the beginning and still is today, right? And we want to ignore that because we want to rank it. Oh, well, this was worse.
Well, because when they created the racial hierarchy, everything that's predominantly the complexion for protection is a never forget. It has to be at the top, good, bad, or indifferent.
Okay, yeah.
Because how do you tell us to never forget the Holocaust, but you want us to forget how they learned to do the Holocaust?
Yeah, which is
because
matter of fact, the poison that they used, not Velcon, I can't remember the name of it. I had something G, something, I can't remember. The poison that they used was developed to gas migrants, Mexican migrants coming across the border.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Hitler had multiple portraits.
Yeah, you're right, Arena. You're right.
He had multiple portraits of Henry Ford because Henry Ford was like so freaking racist. One, can y'all stop crediting him with inventing the Model T? He stole that.
Yeah. Oh, but then they'll say he invented the modern assembly line. No, he did not.
He invented forcing y'all to learn how to square dance because he thought that was the whitest shit that you could do. And then Hitler was like, Jim Crow, love it. How did y'all do that? Slavery? How did you do that? And let us not forget that while they had internment camps here, And we
Mhm.
always talk about the Asian community being put into those internment camps. Guess
Mhm.
who else was put into those internment camps? And I need people to stop equating Jewishness to just whiteness.
Yep. Thank
Jewish
you.
is an ethno religion, meaning you can have any skin tone and be Jewish. And if you believe that a man with brown hair and brown eyes was delusional enough to say, hey, the superior race is actually the product of incest with blonde hair and blue eyes and white
Yep.
people, and he didn't even fit the bill.
Yep.
If y'all thought that he was cool with black people walking around, and if you think that black people were just dropped in Germany in the 1980s, I got news for you.
There were over 14 other groups that were also imprisoned and genocided during the Holocaust. It wasn't just Jewish people, it was queer people, it was black people, there was, that we focus on the white Jews, right?
And let's be honest. Let's be
And I'm
honest.
not saying it wasn't horrible before anybody starts.
Nobody's saying that. And let's not forget, Zionists have been around since forever and very prominent since the 1800s. If y'all want a full breakdown on that, that is still on this platform. But y'all have to realize Zionists had no problem turning in other Jewish people, turning in other Christians that didn't fit the bill, because a Zionist is one of the most individualistic individuals known to man. Because even with this current genocide that we're watching in Palestine, y'all do realize that off and on, the Christian Zionists and the Jewish Zionists are going back and forth, because Christian Zionists are like, well, I want all of y'all to die. And they're like, all of who? Oh, all of you Jewish people, because they're waiting for their prophecy to come.
Yes, which means the extermination of the Jewish people.
And this is what I've never understood about Zionism, because I'm like, you all are coming together, and both of y'all wet dreams is the annihilation of the other. Like when you annihilate your common enemy, the goal after that, y'all got to be annihilated.
Yeah. And white Americans are using the idea of supporting Israel to disguise its own anti-Semitic point of view, right? We can support Israel, and then you see, you can't say we hate the Jewish people, even though you're being anti-Semitic and shitting on the Jewish people. Answer me this. Where did my question go? It was just in my head. I don't know where it went. It'll come back. It's gone.
It happens. It happens to all of us.
I don't know what it was. I hate when that happens. But yeah, we keep repeating, right? None of this is new. The Holocaust wasn't new, and it wasn't the worst or the only. Ranking. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Irina, when you talk about losing your empathy, so you have to look at things through a personal lens, and this is what frustrates me about so many people now saying, especially white people, saying, it's so bad in the world, I can't be happy, it's not fair, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, do you view everybody that's in a worse situation than you as nothing more than their suffering? Is that all they are to you? Is their suffering so that you can have a cause and feel better about yourself? I mean, or are they whole human beings?
And that's that. And this is why people like Little Miss Lily, they think that it's so easy and they'll get all this fame and all this whatever because anti-blackness trumps everything else.
Yes.
You have so many people from all sides that will jump on the bandwagon and pat you on the back. But here's the thing. Like I said before, she's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Because even the racists were like, this seems forced.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like you casually, like, there was no reason for you to bring up the N-word when talking about your friends.
Yes.
And she forgot to scrub her social media.
which she had a bunch of stuff talking about how to be a better person and not anti-racist stuff, but she had content that leaned that way. And and here's the thing, I just had this conversation in DMs with somebody who was asking my advice, which is still weird to me that white people come and ask my advice on race things, and I'm like, but I'll tell you but here's my thing: be yourself, improve yourself, be yourself, and then when somebody goes, "Oh, you're not really that," "Oh no, I used to be this way, but this is who I am now," and you're solid in who you are, right? But if you're putting things on to look a certain way, if you're name dropping and vocab dropping and using all the right lingo, then it's not you and it's not authentic, and it's gonna show real quickly.
And here's the thing, especially racist white people. Hey, Booskies, y'all individualize yourselves down to your own
One second. Ghetto preacher, who read their texts?
Help me.
Okay, and Arena, what do white people think happened since slavery?
They think that everything they don't think that there's any. Well, let me stop saying that. They know that there's long-term benefits that they receive from chattel slavery. This is why they try to gaslight the rest of us, because if y'all don't think that they still have slave records and mementos floating around in hope chests in their attics and their Meemaw's attics, I don't know what to tell y'all.
You are not the daughters of the witches they couldn't kill. You're the daughters and granddaughters of the women who threw rocks at Ruby Bridges. Stop it.
Yeah, because I hate that. Oh, we're the daughters of the witches you could. First of all, the witches that were killed were just the pretty women that were smart, that refused to be like, oh, I can read. And they were the ones that were the targets of gossip.
Yeah. And they weren't witches. Right?
First of all, if we Black women got offended every time we were accused of something that we didn't do, this plane would have already burned to the ground. It would have already burned to the ground.
Yeah. Did you see that video of the white lady saying Black women should revolt? Or I can't remember how she worded it. Riot. Those aren't the words she used. I can't remember. And it's like, I know what you think you're saying, but it's not what you're saying. First of all, not Black women's job to save us. Second of all, what? I don't. Language matters, right? Words matter.
How can I say this? White people, stop dividing yourself. You can only divide a pie so much, and you divide so much thinking that you're going to affect us, you're going to affect yourself. And you all are watching it in real time with little Miss Lily. Just like the one young lady, there was a trans woman trying to be like the next Caitlyn Jenner, and it didn't work out for her.
Nope.
It never works.
Woman that transitioned when she was 15, talking about her children. Yeah.
And it's like when you're going to self-hate, just like Candace Owens, they're going to use you as an example and as practice. They're going to use you as target practice also, because they want to see what sticks and what gets you rattled up. And that's what really drives people crazy when they deal with me. Like the one woman who's been going crazy for the past, first of all, the conversation started like a month and a half ago, and then she keeps bringing it up. And then she's been going crazy today. And if you notice, each time she's talking to me, well, you got offended. No, I didn't. I just told you this was a microaggression. Well, you think you're smart. No, it's a fact. Would you like to see? Like, I'm not like you're not
going to measure it. I can show you. Yeah.
I'm like, you're not going to goad me. I was raised around pretty much nothing but boys. Like, do you know what they have said to me? Do you know what they said to me today? Like, come better, like do better. And also, we do not want retribution. That is a white people thing. If we wanted revenge, you would have been dead during the time of chattel slavery. Y'all let us breastfeed breastfeeding and raising your children, even through Jim Crow. You had us cooking your food like this. And when people go, I don't understand the Karens and Richards in restaurants that are arguing with people who touch their food. These are the descendants of people who put the folks that they hated most in charge of their crops, their livestock, their food, their household. You
Yep.
had these people sleeping footsteps away. Do you know how many times how many houses could have burnt down if
Yeah.
that's what we wanted, if we wanted
Yep.
revenge? Do you know how many times over we could have poisoned you?
And this is the thing. It's nonsensical if you stop and think. But these white people aren't interested in it making sense. They're gaslighting. That's all they're doing. They're projecting and trying to protect their own id. Right? It makes no sense. I had this conversation with Rolf, my son, the other day, and we were talking about how being a professional chef, he said anybody that works in a kitchen professionally is not going to fuck with your food. It doesn't matter how shitty you are. Now, fast food, casual dining where people aren't professional, but we aren't enslaving them. I don't know, if y'all wanted to kill us, we'd be dead. It's just that simple.
And for those of y'all that was DMing me all them jokes, because I felt bad the other day when I walked into the restaurant and I didn't know that they were closing in an hour. Yes, I know it was a full 60 minutes, but think about what I'm thinking about here. I know a lot of people that work in food service. By the time you get a chance to get to your table, sit down, look over the menu, order your drinks, order your food, they cook it and come back. You're looking at maybe 20 to 30 minutes to eat your food, and they need to clean up. So yes, I legitimately felt bad. Yes, I issued an apology to them and an apology and kind of like a lesson to people, because I'm like, they have a life too. They want to leave. And I really felt bad when I was walking out, and I was like, I am legitimately the last person, because I was the last person like walking out with my party. And yeah, I just brought the rest of my food home to eat because I felt bad. I didn't think that they were gonna do something to my food because like I already knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that person that's right up until like 10:58 and they still have closing duties and they don't really always
And
do that.
They start breaking down the kitchen, an hour before close. If somebody walks in, they can pull things back out and ramp up pretty quick. But they've already shut down and started storing things away.
And fortunately for me, the one little salad that I wanted, they had a cancellation on a DoorDash order, and she's like, "Well, I don't care if it's been you just made it. They cancel. I'll take it. Like,
Absolutely.
I am simple. Just let me have like." But yeah, y'all can stop with the jokes, okay? I wasn't being dramatic. I do feel bad. Like I don't want to be. And if I would have known that they closed at 10, I definitely wouldn't have walked in at 9:00. But I do think about that. Like we think, oh, it's an hour. Yeah, if you called in ahead and they just had it sitting at the table for you, like it still takes time.
Yeah.
And everybody was very, very, very sweet. And shout out to the young lady that knew that I legitimately just wanted to take my ice water with me. Because I always get a glass of water, and if I have a glass of wine, and I had a glass of wine, and I had half of it left, and the one lady kept looking at me, and I'm like, I'm not putting the wine in a to-go cup. I'm not going to get y'all fined. I just wanted it for my water because it was still 90 degrees at almost 10:00.
Yeah.
I am not drama, sir. You've been to restaurants with me.
And Arena, you said how many times I've been called a welfare mom without me. Yeah. Here's the funny thing. When Robert went back to school, when Mr. Pam went back to school, I was 6 months pregnant with our first daughter, and my son was a year old. And we went and got food stamps, and I don't know how this happened to this day. For the four of us, it was $700 a month. This was in 1989. And we didn't get grilled. They didn't go and search for any assets. They didn't go and search for what cars were in Robert's name or my name. They didn't do any of that. But and we only had 2 kids, but if we had been Black or Hispanic, they would have crawled through everything. Everything. Robert still owned a 911 at the time. It was older, it was paid for, and it was the only option we had for a car to get through school. And by the time we graduated, it needed like $8,000 worth of work, and it wouldn't. But it doesn't matter. It was still an asset that would have disqualified anybody else.
Well, it's just like I noticed this like starting a week ago. Like there are a couple of trends. Yeah, it's safe to say trends that I've noticed the past couple of weeks because my sleep has been a little funny because of the weather.
Mine too, really.
White women can get on the internet and go, I have 6 kids by 5 different fathers. Let me tell you how I make it work.
Did you
And
see that one?
oh, you're such a great mom. Look at you. And then a black woman can just show a picture of her kids. We don't know
where's the dad.
Where's the dad? You on welfare? There is a woman that I've been following for a while. Now, her content has changed because of her comment section. She started off as just showing women in general how she balances motherhood, being a boss, and like a semi-luxurious lifestyle. Love the content. And her comment section, because she's a black woman, started getting horrific. He just made babies with you and he didn't get married. She's like, I have a husband. I talk about him a lot, and a lot of times you can hear him off camera. And then, you're infertile. She's like, I have kids. Like, what? Oh, so it's welfare in Section 8. As she's like saying, hey, here's some, if you're gonna put money into designer shoes, here's a good designer shoe that you can get, that you can have till you die, that you won't have to replace. And they're telling this woman she's on welfare. And the amount of times in my life where people have seen me with my children just running errands, or I'm like even there were times where I'm like, hey, you want to hang out with your Nana and Big Daddy while I go run some errands? No, we're gonna go with you, Mom. Oh, it's so sad. My tax dollars are paying for your groceries. I wish I qualified for anything.
I used to drive my mother-in-law's brand new Mercedes to the grocery store to go shopping with our food stamp card, because guess what? She wasn't giving us money, and by that point, we didn't have a car anymore. And people would look at me, but nobody ever said anything. And I promise you, and I remember at the time, I was like, if I was black, they would be on it. And you saw that one guy made the comment to me about, baby mamas and welfare. I don't remember, in drug addicts. And I'm like, actually, we went back and counted. If you take into account the 2 abortions I had, I've had 5 baby daddies. Come on now. And I've dated drug dealers. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, one of my earliest memories of just blatant racism, there were times in my life where elders in my life had to point out to me, covert racism, especially when I was much younger, and I'm talking as a minor. And I've said this before, on Saturdays, me, my mom, and my granny, always the 3 of us, sometimes other people would join us, but it was always us on Saturdays. We would go shopping, go out to lunch. Even if we didn't purchase anything, it was just kind of like our bonding moment. And this was also my time being the only girl, where I could just talk to them about anything and pick their brains. Because when you're younger, the guys, like, you don't want to talk about certain stuff, like when your brothers or your dad.
Yeah.
And we went into one particular store. My granny had been in this store a lot. Like, I knew that the regional manager knew my granny by name. Like, been in there so much purchasing. And there was a new salesperson. Now, usually when we walk into the store, I usually walk in and then they'll give me the go ahead to sit on a bench that was like right outside the front door. Because there was something about the circulation in that store that I just couldn't regulate my body temperature and I'd get a little dizzy. So we did that, and they're like, yeah, you can go ahead. And I knew that there was something I needed for like a choir performance or something. And my mom was like, well, when we need you, we'll, send such and such out to get you. Well, I'm sitting there. One of the ladies came out to get me. The new sales lady was like, well, well, make sure you check her. I'm glad she didn't run. Run where? Like,
Right.
I am so young, I don't even have my own purse because I don't even have enough to put in a purse. I was not a big pocket person as a child because they were just uncomfortable to me on the inside, you know, when the pockets touch your skin. It was weird to me. And I'm like, take some. Like in my mind, I'm like, why would I take it? It's not mine. Like, why would I take it? I'm not thinking theft, criminal, none of that. I'm just
No.
okay. And then they're like, well, she needs a dressing room. She needs to try this on. Are you sure you all can afford this? Now, this is during my granny and my mother's what I call their Gucci era. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where virtually everything these ladies purchased was Gucci. And this is a time for those of y'all might be shocked where we didn't have replicas. We didn't have knockoffs. If you
No,
saw
you could
some
get the really
bag,
bad flea market stuff, but it didn't even look
yeah,
real. It didn't even
it
begin to
didn't even
look
come
real.
close. Like if you saw somebody with it, it was what it was. Okay. They
Mm-hmm.
paid the full price. It wasn't no outlets, wasn't no clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what you mean granny can't afford it? This 2 weeks after my granny just had a custom car delivered to her house. Now, I didn't understand every in and out of money, but I understood granny always could pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I knew that 100%. And I have been traveling with my grandparents, all sorts of stores. She ain't never said, oh, I don't have money for it. So I'm like, she got the money. I mean, she keep telling me it don't grow on trees, but
Uh-huh.
I think it do.
Uh-huh.
So I'm puzzled. The one and only time I ever heard my granny cuss, and she said, don't worry, baby. She's just a racist bitch. I'm going to go make a phone call.
Good
My
for
granny
me.
walks out the store to another store to use their phone because this is before cell phones, y'all. Comes back. Within 10 minutes, the regional manager comes in and goes, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lewis, but you won't ever have to worry about this person again. And the look on that woman's face, and then she said, oh, you're Mrs. Lewis.
Yeah. And you know
So
what's wild is
yeah, she was told that a big spender was coming in. Like this is on a Saturday, but you didn't believe that big spender could be a Black woman.
yeah. And I have stories that are very similar, but they were never because of my skin color. They were because I walked in looking like a schlep. That I walked into a place in Waco once the day before Christmas Eve because I got noticed that Robert's present wasn't going to come in time, and I was looking for a little something to put under the tree. Anyway, irrelevant. She kept directing me to the $5 items and telling me I couldn't afford the more expensive Steins. And this is said Porsche was parked right out front. And when I went to leave, I got mad. And when I stormed out, somebody said, oh, nice car. And I said, yeah, thanks. And the lady looked and you just saw her face fall. She's like, oh shit. But I looked like I came out from under a bridge. I looked so bad, right? It had nothing to do with my skin tone. Not a thing.
Yeah,
And
just
that's
like
what people don't seem to understand.
And see, one person I had to really explain to them once because they did not understand why I was happy someone didn't like me. And I said, let me explain. This person doesn't know what I sound like, doesn't know what I look like. They have decided they don't like me because I won't bend the rules for a contract for a company that they're also contracting out for. They wanted to undercut me. They don't know I'm a woman. They don't know I'm Black. They don't know nothing. I said, the fact that they don't like me is on merit. I was like, you don't understand how tickled I am that 100% on merit, this person has decided I don't like her. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, because most often people decide they don't like me just by looking at me. There have been times people have gone years and then they finally talk to me and go, oh shit, you are cool. And I'm like, you thought I wasn't?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought you were going to be mean. I thought you were a bitch. What did I do? And then I'm like, what did I do or say to you? Oh, nothing. So you never talked to me. You never interacted with me. You just, okay. Or people that are quick to believe anything negative said about me
Yeah.
because I'm Black. And that's why I think it's real funny that one particular person, they making a whole diss track to her right now over on TikTok. And I was like, yeah, she was one of them that
I don't know
just
who
had
you're talking about, but it doesn't matter.
it just had to be an inkling of anybody throwing dirt on any Black woman's name, and she was getting on the bandwagon, most notably Crystal Crave. When the chick with the box braids was coming after Crystal Crave,
Yep.
this person came out and was like, "Oh, that's so funny, Crystal. Oh, you're not gonna say anything to."
I remember
You're
when that
letting-
all happened, and I wasn't. I just realized today I wasn't following Crystal on the account I'm on now because I changed accounts. But
Oh, and she lost an account
yeah,
during that time as well.
yeah.
Because I had to actually, I think she lost 2 accounts because there was one time I went to go follow her, and then the next day I went to go look because I needed to write down the dates of when her LP was coming out, and I couldn't find her again. And I'm like, what's going on?
And see, I get the exact opposite. Like everybody's always like, well, Kat and Megan's mom, she's so nice. Pam's so nice. Pam's so nice. And I'm like, and this used to be a joke in our family and in our circle, is if somebody said Pam was so nice, you knew they didn't know me. Right? She said, what? I don't.
For the longest time, I had 2 cousins that really wouldn't let their kids come over my house, because usually I'm like the resident babysitter. I don't care. I don't care about kids coming over.
I don't think you could get the kids out of your house if you were a relative.
Right. I don't care. Like, I'm usually the neighborhood house. It doesn't matter to me. And everybody's like, oh yeah, but this particular cousin, because the anti-Blackness ain't just from white people.
No, I say
like,
all the time.
She decided that I was so mean, I was so strict, all these things, because one person who had married into the family told her that. And because this person had a white face, they just, she got to be telling the truth. She has to be trustworthy. And then it came across other people who had their kids around me regular, and they're like, strict. They're like, yeah, you can give her the list of your rules. She lines them all up. She tells you what is similar to everybody else's and what is just she can't. Because some rules, look, I respect every parent's rules, but sometimes I can't enforce them.
Yeah.
Because I am not that child's parent. They're not going to listen to me. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to be like, look, I'm going to do the best I can, but there's other kids here that don't have this rule. This may not work out the way that you want to. You can take them. And they're like, but y'all do know that the kids like to go to her house because they probably going to have brownies for breakfast. Like, where you get she strict from? They're like, she needs a babysitter.
When I moved to Indiana, when I was homeless and moved in with my son, and they had their little girl, she was 5, and all her life living with her other grandparents, they had always catered to her. I think she's 5 or 6. And when I wouldn't let her win games, I didn't go out to beat the 6-year-old, right? But it's like, you have the skills to beat me at tic-tac-toe, at whatever little game we're playing. I'm not going to just openly let you win. You're smart enough. You know the rules, right? Same thing with behavior. It's like I have expectations. And she used to say I was mean. And I get all the time that I hate white people. And it's like, who hates white people? I know what we're capable of, and I want to raise the bar. You want to just keep lowering the bar. Who really hates white people?
Yeah, see, you were being fair with your grandkids, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all, my granny used to intentionally cheat to beat us, okay? I was very much so an adult before I knew the real rules of dominoes, because she never told us the real rules so that she could cheat. She even cheated at Dungeons and Dragons. Like, this woman was diabolical. And then my other grandma, she was even worse. Like, they was out here cheating us kids. And I remember when I finally learned the real rule, like, ma'am, like, the only thing I had a chance at was Shanghai Rummy, and it's only because she had to write out the instructions, because my papa was like, write it out. So she could follow along.
I don't know how to play Shanghai Rummy.
Because I'm like, I'm not gonna play this game. Well, it had to be written out because me with the tism and the ADHD, because every hand you have to get something different. Wasn't no way I was gonna keep up with that. No. And then she was like, I'm gonna teach you how to play Bonkos so you can play with my friends. First of all,
Oh,
Bonkos
we
are
used to
a
play
very rich
Bongo.
game, and that's some bullshit. And then I realized she was cheating her friends too, because I asked them, I said, when did y'all learn Bonkos? Oh, from your granny. Oh, back up from the table. Back up. No wonder you spend all y'all money every damn week. She taught you? Oh, hell no. Go buy your own Bonkos game and read those instructions. Well, she had instructions written down. Ma'am, what game do you buy from the store and the instructions are handwritten? Y'all slow. Y'all real slow. Okay. Just
Oh,
like when she
that's
was
right.
like, you want to learn how to play Yahtzee? Not from you. Absolutely not for you. But this is the same woman. This is the same woman that was willing to let me get a month's worth of detention because she kept lying to me about her age when I was in second grade and I had to do a family tree and they wanted you to put the ages down there because I put my parents' ages down there and then she kept telling me she was
Ah, you're
29.
breaking up. Hang on.
So I put
Hear
29
you.
in the box. At this point, my parents were very much so over 30. So the teacher is like, your granny can't be younger than her own child. Once again, child mind, not thinking about it, just thinking they said this granny, this mom. Mom's this age, granny's this age. I wasn't thinking which is bigger, right?
Oh,
She thinking that I'm lying, that I'm putting something out of order. They called. Now, my granny was coming to pick me up from school. I told them, granny's coming to pick me up from school. They asked her. They were like, she's going to be in trouble if she
you're
lies.
breaking up bad.
Granny in the face. And they said, how old are you? She said 29. 29. She was gonna let me go down. But I got her back because we had a code word and she forgot the code word the next time she came to pick me up. She was cussing me out top to bottom from the other side of the door. And I looked out the door at the school too, just looking at her. She was pissed. She told everybody in the family. And then she called my mama, was like, tell her to let me in. I didn't tell her she did. I was
There.
like, Mom, remember the call? Oh, she was hot fire, man. I was like, yeah, you told my teacher that she was 29. She was gonna give me a month of detention. So yeah, you forgot the code words. You stand outside. She's like, open the door. No, I'm not. I drove all the way out to this school to get you. When you drove out here the last time, you should tell them the truth about your age. And you know, when my granny passed away, I legitimately had to do the math to tell everybody how old she really. Nobody knew.
Okay, that's fun.
Because I was sitting there at the funeral home and I was like, and they're like, what year was she born? I was like, we don't have anything with the year that she was born in. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. She was exactly this age when mom was born. And this, like, I'm sitting there doing
you had to extrapolate it, right?
and I'm like, I was like, this is some bullshit. And my aunt and uncle are like, I don't think that's how old she is. Yeah, that's how. And then I was like, wait a minute, Papa is legitimately this amount older than her. And I was like, wait a minute. All these years we thought he was old. He's not. First of all, my granny was a cradle robber after she done stole her best friend's man and married him. She done got knocked up and married this man that used to be her best friend's man. And her best friend evidently had been just scouring the earth looking to whoop up on her. But, you know, they switched countries, so she couldn't find her. I'm like, damn. What is the scandalous Grey's Anatomy before Grey's Anatomy is going on? What the hell? I'm like, Granny, what kind of life was you living? And my mom was just like, it's not that big of a deal. First of all, you're undercover, underage heifer. You was out all up in the club underage with a fake ID. And you got busted out by daddy, who decided to start giving you an allowance after the first date. What kind of hoochie coochie did you have going on? She's like, don't talk to me like that. I know the man.
Hey, you want to hear some white people shit? You want to hear some white people shit? I'll give you white people shit. My dad went to Texas A&M University. Texas A&M University was an all-male military college at the time. And there is its sister university is Texas Women's University, which is in Denton. And they would all get on the train and go down to College Station, where Texas A&M is, and they would line them up in the train station, and the corps members, the male students from Texas A&M would pick their date for the football game the next day. The seniors got to pick first. By the time the freshmen picked, there wasn't many people left. And can you imagine how awful it felt to be one of the girls that didn't get picked?
First of all, white people, can y'all let go of the slave market? Because that sounds like
Yes.
slave shit.
Fuck yes. Mhm. My dad did not meet my mom that way. My mom was a cheerleader at Texas. But my mom had a date with my dad's twin brother before she had a date with my dad.
You know what? That reminds me of some other white people shit. Now, from my Frankfort, Kentucky shenanigans, first of all, why do I keep getting really shenanigan riddled neighbors? I need to be more careful as to where I move. But anywho, the one woman that was in everybody's business that just decided to befriend me. I don't know why. I went to the mailbox one day and then we were just friends. I don't know how these things happen. I keep telling y'all I have no idea how I make friends. But she finally told me one day when her sister was visiting that this man came to the house to ask her parents permission to date her sister. 30 days later, she married this man.
Wow.
And here's the kicker. Since they've been married, every 3 weeks, her sister comes up for 3 weeks and stays with them. I was like, what? What?
Is anybody paying attention?
And at first I thought she was messing with me because I was like, y'all just saying, but no, then I started noticing, I was like, yeah, oh. And here's the kicker. The husband looks like the Frisch's Big Boy mascot. Very, very sweet man. Very sweet man. Very sweet man. But no, this is not like no. Before y'all get it in y'all mind, like he was a tall drink of water. No, he was not wealthy because we in the same neighborhood. Okay, no. I don't understand. I don't understand why the sisters had a lifelong battle over.
The guys that whistle. You know the guys that whistle like this, do the real loud. No, they don't have to hold these. Do this.
Mm-hmm.
We decided that it seems to always be guys with no lips.
Yeah, that was their son. That's pretty much what he. Yeah.
My dad can do it. I'm
like, these women had a lot, and I mean, like the older sister, she just resigned to, you know what? I'll be the part-time sister wife. Like, what the and the older sister had a husband. Now, the husband, I did meet him. He was gay. Like it was blatant gay. And I was like, y'all don't nobody see what I see.
I had an aunt on my mom's side. I've met her once in my entire life. Once. And here's a fun thing. She was married to a man named Bob Simons, who ended up marrying Amy Irving's mom. Amy Irving that was married to Steven Spielberg. I've never met these people. I've never met these freaking people. And they're my cousins and aunts and uncles. Not once, never met them.
Hey, I have one cousin that I never, ever met. Now, he was quite a few years older than me, but he was disowned by his mother, not the entire family, and decided to move to California and never talk to anybody again. Why did he move? Now, it was a rumor around the family that he came out to his mother as gay and she rejected him. At the end of his mother's life, it came out she didn't reject him. She didn't know what gay meant. Her whole life growing up, gay meant happy. And she was just like, okay. Because when he was like, Mom, I'm gay, she was just kind of like, okay. And she didn't click.
We went to a funeral last weekend for one of Robert's family members, and his closeted lesbian cousin was there. And she's still closeted to herself too, right? It's sad. It's really sad. Because her mom would not understand, but her mom would get over it because that's her kid.
Yeah, because like the cousin who's the mother of that cousin, when people were explaining, like, well, he feels offended because you don't like him comes gay. She's like, I like all the happy people. And that's when it clicked. They were like, all these years you just thought he was telling you he was happy? And she was like,
Yeah.
that's what the word means. And they were like, no, he's a homosexual. She was like, okay, what does that mean? He's a man that likes other men. And the funniest thing ever, as this woman is sitting in hospice, she said, has he seen this family?
My
Now,
mom.
I'm supposed to be filling out paperwork, right? I
Yeah.
have dropped the clipboard. I have dropped the clipboard. The nurse is holding on to the door because she's like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Like, she don't know what to do because she's like, it's
No.
hard. But that was funny, like, because people in the hallway don't know what was just said. So
No.
she's like, if I'm laughing, what the fuck? Everybody else in the family is like, they're going from shock to like realization to then laugh, like, shit, we are gay. Like, pretty like, but I mean, like when I dropped the clip, like paperwork everywhere, pen is, and my dad is just in the corner, like, I don't, what is y'all
The
are not.
hell is happening here?
Because when I tell people we don't do coming out stories in my family, I said, because at this point, coming out would be you telling us you straight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I was telling my mom she was a huge DeSantis supporter. I think I've told you this. And to the point where she had his holiday card of, like the standard white people in front of the fireplace, all the family holiday card. And she had it sitting by where she sits and watches TV. And she picked it up. I didn't know who it was. She picked it up and she goes, oh, such a sweet family. Have I shown you this? It reminds me. And she points to the little girl and she goes, of my little Pammy. This looks like our little family. And I said, who is that? And she said, DeSantis. I said, oh, the man that wants all my children to die. And she went, no, he doesn't. I said, all three of my children are queer, Mom. This is before I came out as non-binary. And she's like, he doesn't want them to die. I was like, yeah, he does. She goes, well, I don't understand being gay. I was like, and I don't understand what you like in the bedroom, but that's neither here nor there, is it? Well, and she started to get it a little bit by the time I left, and now I've got to go back down there. But it's tough. It's tough to be from this my little Pammy and this my family, and let's disregard the piece of shit that she's pointing to, but this very sickeningly sweet um, um, affinity for the past. What is the word I'm looking for?
Oh, that nostalgia.
And very sweet, and trying to associate it with her family to this just abject, no, your reality is not true, mine is. Right?
We know you're a lesbian. You're in a lesbian relationship with me.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take him nowhere. Can't take him nowhere. I told y'all there's nobody in my life that does not troll me. So yeah, for those of y'all going, I can't believe you said that to your daughter and she had her mouth full. That is the stalker, y'all. That's the one that sends me pictures of my own front door.
Oh,
let me troll her
wow.
when I can. Okay, let me troll her when I can. Leave me alone.
Wow.
And Tiny Muscolini, the youngest tiny human, she gonna be worse because I'm pretty sure she's gonna air tag me. And if any of y'all teach that little girl about location tracking, I'm gonna punch y'all because I'm pretty sure she gonna do that. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I feel like soon as she can have an after school job, she's gonna show up at my house and make me go with her. Like I feel like I'm going to be her +1 at her first party. Okay, this is the same little girl that makes me walk around with her and I got to eat with her. She got to sit on my lap like the whole time. Like she is my supervisor. That's why I be unsupervised because I got to hide from her. There was one time she spent the night and I hid in the closet down here. Because she told me, she said, Gigi, you're on punishment. Why am I on punishment? Because I feel like you're going to do something. Okay, you're not wrong. But I'm definitely bigger than you, and I know I'm older than you. You can't put me on punishment.
You're Gigi?
Yeah, she said I can, because Daddy said you don't have to be bigger than you to be able to put you on punishment.
Oh. How
okay.
nice of her. You're Gigi. You know what my grandkids call me? Or my grandson calls me? Gum.
Oh.
They get through though.
Mm-hmm.
To where I have a necklace that they engraved gum on the back of it. I mean, it's sticking. It's going to be that forever.
Okay, but my kids were always trying to kidnap me, and this is the same little girl who told her father, "We should get Gigi to go to the park with us." He said, "We don't have any more room in the car." With a straight face, we can put her in the trunk. What the fuck? And then she FaceTimed me from her iPad. "We're gonna come get you. We're gonna put you in the park in the trunk. How about I just meet y'all at the park? How about I do that? I ain't gotta go in the trunk.
There was
this is felony.
The dad that does the stuff with his daughter, Jean Grey. He calls her Jean Grey or something. They're adorable. That's who reminds me.
Oh, they are. And then my son that publicly, with his full chest on camera, admits to kidnapping me and trying to kidnap me. And you know, first of all, anybody who follows me on TikTok, y'all ain't shit for having his back. Okay, somebody you gonna be his alibi. Y'all ain't shit. Whoa, absolutely not. And I keep telling him it is a felony. He said it's not a crime because you're my mother. It is not. And then my brother, who's a cop, I said, "Can you please tell your nephew that it's a crime?" He said, "I don't hear any crimes being committed." What the fuck?
Oh, that's a way to sell you out.
I said, "What?" I said, "See, this will happen when you got siblings with too much cream in their coffee. See, you light skinned don't want to have the dark skinned backs." I said, you real Drake right now, and I'm Kendrick Lamar. It's okay. It's okay.
You are like us. You are like us.
Right. Now we're all laughing. My stepmother, it took her a minute to realize that we were not serious because she light skinned too. And I'm like, calm down. Calm down, Sugarfoot. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay, Sugarfoot. It's okay. It's okay. And for all of y'all asking whose white baby is that?
You've heard the white podcast guys doing that. You are like us, right?
Yes, it was hilarious.
Which is what I'm talking about. It's not quite on beat.
But for everybody asking whose white baby is that is my nephew Logan. That is the one born on the 4th of July. And y'all, first of all, he does some of the blackest shit known to man. This man came in, made 2 to-go plates, then made a plate to sit down and eat.
He's adorable, though. I will say he's adorable.
Ready to leave. I was like, "Oh, you want me to make you a plate?" He said, "Auntie, I already got 2 plates in the car." I said, "When did you take plates out to the car?" He said, "I went out the side door and walked around." What the? What in the light-skinned black is going on? All sitting there with cowboy boots on. That's my horseback.
And I'm the one that is over there making plates for everybody. Everybody got to take one. Go home.
That's my horseback riding buddy. That is ever since like when his mom started dating my brother, he was just my little constant companion. I did cry a little when he went off to boot camp, but I was like, he's a grown man. Don't hurt him because I'll blow this whole base up. Don't fuck with me.
I was literally proud of myself today because when I went to the store to get some things to finish dinner, I got shells and cheese. I got 1 box. That is a serious achievement for me. There are 4 adults in this house, 2 of whom don't eat carbs. But I would make 2 boxes. I still have food panic. I still panic, and I've got to cook in huge amounts.
My thing is, I am. Now, my mom comes from a smaller family, but like my grandparents on her side come from larger families. My dad comes from a larger family. I'm from a larger family. I have whittled down some of my recipes to a more manageable amount, but there are still dishes I will not make if I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Because
dressing. Dressing is a big one. Dressing's 3 big pans or I'm not making it. But yeah.
But
And growing up, we had a small family, right? My brother was out. It was me, my mom, and my dad. And I started cooking when I was 9 because my mom was such a bad cook, and so was my grandmother. So my dad had me start cooking at 9, and but I cook in these huge amounts, and I didn't used to, but once you go through food insecurity, it sticks. It just sticks. I still, if even when it was just me and Mr. Pam here, if I'd open the pantry and it wasn't full, I left food in there that was stale
Yeah,
just
see,
so it
my
wouldn't
thing is I
be.
tend to overcook because having brothers that have been larger than me for I can't remember a time where I was bigger than any of my brothers, older,
Mhm,
younger, anything. Um, but them having such large appetites and eating through things, and there were times where and I didn't want to say anything to my parents.
mhm.
And it wasn't about not getting my brothers in trouble because fuck them. Because part of me was like, can they afford this?
Yeah.
But I've never seen them run out of money. But there's like a part of me that like so yes, there are certain things that I will overcook or I will overindulge in. And there are comfort foods of mine that I won't keep in the house because I will buy quantities that it will become wasteful. Like
Yes.
right now, my biggest comfort food is a bagel. Like I have it doesn't I generally have one in the morning, but I have to have one before I go to sleep or my whole day is off. Like I
Yeah.
have to have a bagel. But if I
Do you
buy
get
bagels
AD do
for
you
myself,
get ADHD comfort food ruts?
yes.
I do too. And then and I'll buy it and I'll have it, and then it on a dime, it will go away. They'll last forever, and then all of a sudden I don't want it again for a long time.
Yeah, and see, and like right now, I'm
Do
like,
you
because I had people like, oh, well, why don't you? I said, because I won't just buy one pack like a regular person. I'll buy three because in the back of my head, my brothers are going to come and take the bagels.
Yeah. And my
Even though
kids,
they don't have keys to
yeah. And my kids talk about and they're like, "We didn't know that we didn't have money or food." And I'm like, "Because mom got full cooking dinner, right?" "Oh no, I'm full. I ate while I was cooking dinner." Like I wasn't gonna let y'all. Wasn't y'all's responsibility. But I can't eat PB and J's to this day, and I like them, but I cannot eat them. And only recently have I been able to make spaghetti again because spaghetti was our version of hamburger helper. And Mr. Pam, when we finally pulled our way out of that situation, he said, "Can we never have spaghetti again?" And I mean the jarred sauce, even if you fix it up with some herbs and some other things, but the jarred sauce and spaghetti. We do a lot of different things, but yeah, it took
Yeah,
forever.
see, my thing is I for the longest time could not eat tuna salad. And my
Mhm.
kids love for me to make tuna salad for them, and they would always be like, "Mom, why aren't you eating this? Like, there's enough. Like, are you not eating it because there's not?" And I'm like, "Y'all don't understand how much I've had because my brothers weren't a fan of tuna salad. So if my mom made a big thing of it,
There was plenty, and it needed to be eaten.
and so it was, and because of allergies and different things going to school, I was always a kid that needed to pack their lunch. So whatever was prominent with the leftover, and I'm like, I don't now recently I'm like, okay, I've kind of like taken a bite here, taking a bite there. Now, have I jazzed up my tuna salad recipe? Yeah, because I
Yeah,
needed I needed textures because I'm like, I can't have it the same old way.
yeah.
Mm-mm, and my
Oh, the
one brother,
worst thing that my mom used to make, here's how bad I could cook. It was very popular in the 70s, but a half of a canned pear, okay, lettuce leaf, half of a canned pear, a scoop of Miracle Whip salad dressing, right? The really sour mayonnaise shit, and grated cheddar cheese.
I've heard of that, but with pineapple, never heard of it with pear.
Yeah. And it's interesting because if you think about the flavors, if it was better quality ingredients, the flavors actually kind of work. The sour, the sweet, it
Yeah,
needs a little heat somewhere in there, right? But but it's mush because canned pears are mush and Miracle Whip is mush.
Yeah. See, pears for me, whether canned or fresh, is just a no for me.
They're
It's the
gritty.
taste,
They're
it's the
gritty.
texture. Yeah. And I don't like Miracle Whip. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Can't stand Miracle Whip. My mom would exclusively buy Miracle Whip. And when my
Yes.
mom did a sandwich because she liked the taste of it, she would slap so much Miracle Whip on it. Now I
Okay.
can put
It wasn't just
in a
me.
salad, like in a
Nothing is
salad.
worse than a roast beef with Miracle Whip.
Yes. And my
Oh, ugh.
unless it's certain types of bread, like if I'm making a sandwich at home, I must toast the bread. I cannot have a sandwich
Mhm.
without toasted bread, like if I'm at home.
Yeah.
Other than that, the consistency, I can't do. If I feel like bread is soggy to me, even just looking at it,
Mhm.
I can't push
It's
through it.
gooey. It's not even soggy. It's that, you know what I'm talking about. That
Yeah, it turns into Play-Doh.
yes, that's exactly right.
It
It
turns
was a
and
staple in
people
our house,
would
but
say that oranges and like anything in that family, in the citrus family, people are like, why can't you just eat that fruit? Well, one, the universe has jokes, developed an allergy to oranges, so can't have that anymore. But
aw,
I say I cannot just eat an orange or like a grapefruit, like peel it and eat it, because looking at it and then biting into it, it feels like it has veins.
yeah.
If I want to taste veins, I'll just bite you.
Texture is a big thing with me. What I miss is that my dad's family, I've explained this before, were colonized the Rio Grande Valley, right? And they used to own Rotel tomatoes before they sold it. And anyway, it doesn't matter. They had huge amounts of grows. And we used to get, whenever some relative would drive through where we lived, because they didn't have anything to do with my family because they don't like my mom, but they would bring a sack of grapefruits and a sack of oranges, but they were the old school ruby red grapefruits that you could literally peel and eat and were delicious, that are now extinct thanks to a blight. So anything you see that says ruby red grapefruit is not. It is a reproduction.
All right. And now we're to the part of the show that's final thought. You know what?
Do you need an apron and a bikini top? Oh my god!
Lord! You can eat oranges and bananas. I'm not eating them. Jeez, what is but I'm the one that needs to
make the same
I'm
jokes.
the troublemaker. I'm the one that gets everybody in trouble. I'm the one that needs super. I can see you, sir.
I'm dying here. Final thoughts. Don't eat oranges. I don't know. You okay? Don't ride a train to a train station to get picked for a date based on age. I don't.
First of all, don't purchase a relationship off the TikTok shop, because then you'll be where I'm at right now. Number one. Number two, don't allow yourself to be door dashed. Yeah. Jesus.
My son and daughter-in-law used to DoorDash when they lived in Baton Rouge, and they drove a hearse. And I'm not kidding.
We were doing so well. Okay, we had a great
we had even come back to the topic and come
to the end. We did good this week. We did good. And then you get what you pay for. Where is that receipt?
You didn't get it off of Temu, did you?
Oh my God. I try to behave. I try to behave off the rip. Hey, Mr. Rogers. Okay. Yeah.
Friend.
And people always joke like, you don't have a friend named Mr. Rogers. Yes, I do. That is Mr. Rogers. I was like, I don't be joking about this stuff. Like, these people exist.
Oh, that's fun.
So,
all right, final thoughts, Taz.
My nephew had a great birthday. I didn't cuss nobody out today. I got remeasured again because my family ain't shit. Newsflash, still short. My other nephew, had hope that I had grown. I don't know where he thought I was gonna get an inch or two from.
Arena, I'm freaking pissed off. That's not fair. I want to be there. My mom's having surgery.
Danny is 13 minutes away.
Danny's
13 minutes
almost
away from you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Atlanta, Arena? Or are you home?
Is that the Christmas in July drag show thing? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, tell Danny I said hi. And she ain't shit, but I love her.
Tell Danny I said hey. All righty. I think, yeah. My final thoughts. Yeah, I don't look. Just don't have Black Air Force One energy like one of my youngest nephews. Okay. He bad as shit. He bad as shit. But we
I love you guys.
Don't pray for him. So as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. What is today? Today is Thursday. I will see you all again on Monday with Mona.
I'm gonna have to stop by for that one.
And yeah, who knows? I might be in a different location by Monday. You never know.
And if anybody wants to do a TikTok live anytime, let me know. Hit me up in DMs because why not?
Yeah, why not? We don't bite often, hard. Too bad. No. Till next time, y'all.
Bye. All right, love you guys. Love you, Taz. Bye.
Bye.